Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn, Psychic Medium, and we're Kevin's channel too. So Kevin, loving vibration. We're here to do your political questions. How are you, Kevin? You doing all right?
I'm doing great, Susan. It's so good to be here with you and everybody. Always
Totally,
look forward
yes.
to it.
Yes, we have a good time. Kevin and I have a good time. And
How
we
are you
love
doing,
hanging out with
Susan?
you guys, talking politics.
Yeah. How are you doing, Susan?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I mean, I think that some things are happening, like we'll wait for people to get here and start giving us
Yeah.
their questions. But in the meantime, we can chat a little bit about what's going on. Do you,
Yeah.
I don't think this is clear. I saw two conflicting reports, but apparently, two things with 45. One is the big dummy has a gun that he should have given up. Did you hear about that? Right. So, and not
Well,
only
yeah.
that, but somebody
Mhm.
leaked it. Somebody leaked this. You're not supposed to tell people what goes on at those meetings, right? The parole officer meetings, but somebody leaked it
Mm.
and he has a gun.
Oh, I hadn't heard of
Number
that happened at the parole meeting. Is that what they
What's
were
that?
talking about? Was
Yeah,
said I
it was
hadn't
at the
heard of.
parole. It was from the
Okay.
parole meeting.
Okay.
Because I think maybe he realized that he should not lie anymore, that
Yeah.
it doesn't work out. So he honestly said he got rid of two guns and he said, I have another gun. It's not clear if it's in New York or if it's in Florida, but it's not just this case that's a problem. That is a problem for all of his cases. So
Yeah.
any one of those cases could say you're in violation of, you know, the court's rules and we can put you in jail. We know that's not going to happen. But
Yeah.
I want to talk about that. And I want to talk about the liquor license. The other thing is he can't have a
Yeah.
liquor license as a convicted felon in New Jersey. They have a
Interesting.
moral turpitude. I thought only Texas had things like that, like, morally, like
Mm.
what's crazy, right? Like, okay, you got to be a good person in good standing and you can't um, lie, cheat, steal, whatever. I mean, this is like, look up the description and Trump is in there. But anyway, so you think he's going to lose his liquor license? That would hurt. That would leave a mark, as they say.
Mhm. It makes me feel. It's interesting because I feel like there's action taken towards it. Well, this is the New Jersey, the golf course, right? Bedminster. His liquor license for there, I believe, right?
Yeah, I heard it was New Jersey.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's his golf course in New Jersey. But
I
I
think he
almost
has
feel
two
like he's
liquor
like
licenses.
okay, because I feel like there's energy about removing the liquor license, but he does something to kind of turn it around, and I don't know if that's maybe putting it in one of his son's names or something like that. But he has some kind of idea with it um, to
Yeah,
avoid losing the liquor license.
right.
Unfortunately, what are you
Bedminster.
picking up
Thank
with
you,
that?
Marie. Well, that's what I thought. Well, we know he's going to do what the guides are saying is, he's going to do it. It's whether he gets away with it. Like, so he
Mm,
could say, I'm going to transfer it to Eric or Don Jr. But from my understanding, you can't do that because there's a lot of investigation, believe it or not, kind of hard for me to even believe, but there's
yeah,
a lot of investigation to get that liquor license. And you can't just say, I'm transferring it to this person. But I feel like he's going to do something like that. He's going to go around
there's some
the
kind of
situation. He's going to do
workaround.
a workaround and then he's not going to get held to account for it, which is going to
Mm,
make us all irritated, which it should, right? So that's what you're getting to.
yeah. Yeah, and I don't know
Whoa,
why.
wow.
It must be a New Jersey law why you can't,
That's what
be
that's what I've
convicted
heard. And I
and
heard it from a former attorney. Seascape says he can't move any property in his family member's name because he owes money to the court. That's
okay.
true. That's true. That's right. Because remember, Tish James has all that stuff on, but that's in New Jersey, not New York.
Mm.
See, it gets
I
complicated.
feel like I don't know the law and what way he can kind of go around it so he doesn't lose his liquor license. But I'm almost feeling like Bedminster keeps their liquor license,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
he does something, and I don't think it's legal. The guides are telling me it's not legal,
Okay.
but then the next question is, does someone charge him? You know what I mean? Like he
Mm,
has that he swamps the courts, right? I mean, you you almost can't keep up with all the things. And we know how long it takes to get him to court. Could take a year.
Right.
And by that time, he's thinking I'm going to be president. I mean, we know he's crazy, but
Well, I don't know if they would bring legal action against him. I think the state would just pull the liquor license
oh
um,
my,
and be able
that would make me
to,
so happy.
yeah. But like I said, I feel like he does something to kind of work around it. Like
Really?
I'm not a legal expert. I don't know how that all works or their
Right,
state
right, right.
laws.
But that's the energy. The energy is he's
Yeah.
going to go around. That to me too. That's the energy. I don't know how it's going to manifest. It doesn't I don't think it means it's 100% he's successful going around it. I give him about
Mm,
80% chance of going around it. Not
yeah.
It's not a small amount. The state can seize it. That's exactly what Kevin just said. Well, we'll see. We'll see what they do. I mean, if you had to give a percentage, Kevin, do you feel like what percentage is it that he gets away with it, keeping the liquor license?
I feel like him keeping the liquor license, but I think it's only a matter of time before him or his family, if something happens to him, loses the property.
Okay. All right.
Like I said, he's got lawyers. I'm sure that they have some kind of legal work around the system.
Right, right, right. Okay. And then what was the other thing I was asking about? His gun thing. Do you think anything's going to come of that?
Oh, because he still has a gun.
He still has one gun. He admitted it and somebody leaked it. Now we all know about it. And now
Hmm.
Florida is investigating and so is New York. So both of
Oh,
those
interesting.
entities, those what would you call it, like police department or whatever they
Yeah.
are, they're both investigating it. They've announced themselves they're investigating it.
Okay. Because I feel more energy around something actually happening because of him holding onto the gun. Now,
Okay,
how
could
would they
happen.
do that? Do they just pull? Um, does he have to turn the gun in, or
Well,
how
yeah,
would you get
he's
away
gonna
with
have
it?
to turn the gun in, but he
Yeah,
had the gun when he shouldn't have had the guns. That's the problem.
I
It's a
see.
little bit like Hunter, is it not? Right? He
Mm,
should have already turned that gun in. He wasn't supposed to have any
right.
guns. He's breaking the
Got it.
bond agreement. Thank you, Wiki. He's
Yeah.
breaking the bond. He's broken it. But he's
I
past
don't see
tense.
them
Stands
throwing
broken.
him in jail over it. I'll just say that. But I do feel like there's more investigations into it, and I
Okay.
almost feel like I'm having to
Okay.
give up the
They
gun.
might let him just turn it in and call it
Yeah.
done.
Are you picking up any chaos or drama with the gun?
No, not really.
I feel more
Not
energy around it, though. Like I said, it feels like there's
it
more
get
investigations and them actually kind of pushing him rather than the liquor license. I'm almost feeling like nothing there, like him figuring some kind of way to work around that. But I don't see jail time or them, um, throwing him in jail because he violated his probation or anything like that. We
right,
know that
but
there is. Go ahead, Susan. I'm sorry. I
no,
feel
go
like
ahead.
I was going to say we know that he always gets away with. There's two
Yeah,
tiers of
he
justice. If
does.
it was any of us, they wouldn't have a problem throwing us in jail, right?
It's true, but I will say that it feels to me like, and this is what I was picking up around Judge Mershon too.
Mm,
By the time we get to the 11th, this man will have done so many more things to just in general make him a pain in everybody's butt, including Judge Mershon's. And it's the same thing with the gun and the liquor license. The energy
yeah.
suggests that he's digging a bigger hole. He's making more trouble for himself because even if Mershon is not in control or those are outside of his purview, the energy around him is one of just continually sticking the stick in authority's eye.
Hmm.
It's like he's just making karma even more mad. And I feel like even though, yeah, maybe he gets off with the gun or he gets off with the liquor, he goes around it. I still think that energy counts towards the energy that's building that's
Yeah,
going to take him down. It still counts
absolutely.
towards that energy that's building against him. It counts, believe me.
Absolutely. It's like continuing to kind of push the bear, I guess, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
Mershawn, I see Mershawn coming across very strongly.
I do too.
And maybe he does get some kind of jail sentence, but maybe I don't feel like they would do it before the election. I feel like if they were going to sentence him, maybe they could push it out until after the election,
They would do a delayed sentencing.
something like that.
Golly, that would make me mad. Um,
Mm. But I agree. I feel Marshawn kind of having enough, and we're still what a month away from
oh,
sentencing, so we know that
he's
it's
got
gonna,
plenty of time. He's got plenty
yeah,
of time
he's
to.
gonna continue to kind of escalate it and see how much he can push the system, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I really feel like Mershawn, by the time we get to the 11th, Mershawn is in this mood of really just having no more F's to give. You know what I mean? Like he's really over it. And I also feel like he wants to do he wants to do the delayed sentencing. You know, like he really doesn't want to jump into this political, fracas. He doesn't want to
Mm,
do it. He's trying to stay like neutral and scholarly and judge like, but by the time the 11th gets here, I feel like what I've always heard is Trump leaves him no choice. Like I hear Judge Merchan saying, "You've left me no choice." You know what I mean? And
yeah,
then and then he gives whatever sentence is going to be much worse than he would have given. I don't see him in Rikers. I've never seen him in Rikers, but he
right.
could be in a house arrest or in a, I don't know. I mean, he's going to push Marshawn. That's just what I see.
He's
It's
under a house arrest, though. How would it work with campaigning? Because that's where I feel like the
so
issue is. He wouldn't,
it's
as
interesting
much
because
as
I
he's
knew
pissing,
somebody.
as much as he's pissing Marshawn off by just his blatant attempts to, um, you know, to grift to his crowds and just continuing to kind of push the limits. Do you see? I mean, I think Marshawn has had enough, and I see him being hard and firm with his sentencing. But do you feel like that it's like full steam and like we're locking him up in the middle of a campaign or giving him house arrest so that he can't campaign and make it seem like the Democrats are interfering with his election?
Exactly.
I don't feel him doing that. I mean, I that's why I was saying maybe it's a delay sentencing. Um, but
But
I
I mean,
feel like he's wrong with
then you would say, well, if he, I mean, we know he's not going to win the presidency. Please don't. But just say, I'm gaming it
it.
out the way
Right.
everybody will game it out. Well, if you give him a delayed sentence and he wins, then he's just gonna, you know, I don't know what he's going to do. Right? It's a state charge. He shouldn't have any control over it. But we all know that he would be a dictator on day one. Um,
Mhm.
Here's how they could do the house arrest, because I have a friend that had a friend who started dating this guy who was on house arrest. And
Okay.
so I kind of know how it works. Like, so he had to call his parole officer. Like he was allowed to go to work. He was allowed to go to like things that were like regularly scheduled.
Okay.
Okay.
So
But
he
like,
had
let's
privileges,
say, what's that?
he had like work privileges, that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
but it was to and from work, blah blah blah. But he wanted to go to my friend's family's wedding. Okay, so that required him to get approval from the parole officer, and
Okay.
then he had to say literally, I'm going to be in the car for 3 hours. I'm going to stop at this hotel. I'm not going anywhere else. I'm going to this, venue. I mean, it was like he had to like account. He couldn't even stop at a restaurant that wasn't
Okay.
already pre-planned. Now, that's the way it's supposed to be. Now, we all know that Trump is going to thumb up his nose at that. And the first thing he's going to do is not care. But,
Exactly.
that's what Trump is doing. He's here to teach us this lesson about, are your laws good enough?
Mhm.
Do you really have this two-tier social justice system? Are you going to do something about it? He's really going to rub our face in it until we do something about it, right?
Yeah.
So I really feel like that's what he's here to do.
Oh, absolutely. He's very much here to install those guardrails that we need for our law and justice system, but also our democracy and our constitution.
Yeah. But we
And
have to
he's
do the
broken a lot
laws.
of yeah, well, right. It's not pleasant for all of us to kind of deal with
Yeah.
it, but that's what he's doing. He's bringing awareness to all the corruption and a lot of the anger and negativity that's been suppressed for so long.
Yeah, no, I agree. Catherine, your comment caught my eye. What if they debate and he gets so upset by Dark Brandon's truths that he goes to the Great Hamburglar on live TV? Um, could we get so lucky? Really, Catherine? Do you really think we're going to get that lucky? Um, no, I don't know. I first let's back up. Let's ask Kevin. Do you think he's really going to debate Biden? Do you think that's really going to happen in June?
Um, I f- I'm going to say no. I don't feel like it's going to happen.
Right.
I feel like last minute he kind of comes up with an excuse and says it's
Yeah.
rigged and he's not
Right.
going to agree. I do feel
Right.
like is a small chance that they actually do debate, and I would love it if they did in June. I
Yeah.
don't see a fall debate. Was it September? But I'm feeling more likely than not there won't be a debate.
That's what I think too. But I think Biden was being particularly brilliant in
Mm,
getting him to debate so early. The guy doesn't even have
right?
a vice president, and he's like, "Come on, let's debate," because Biden knows
Mm,
that this guy can't debate. He can't get on a stage and have some kind of cogent conversation for an hour. So I thought that was good on Biden because if Trump backs out, that doesn't hurt Biden in the least. And I can even see Biden getting up there and saying, well, we have the time. Let's go ahead. I'll just answer your
yeah,
questions
right.
myself. That would drive Trump crazy.
I mean, can you imagine though if they did debate, Trump would be talking about sharks and being electrocuted
Yes. Yes.
and just
Yes.
making. I mean, it never makes sense. But I loved it when Dark Brandon came out in his ad and he was like, "I hear you're free on Wednesdays during the
I
trial."
know. I
That
know it.
cracked
I
me
love
up.
it. I love it. Trolling him so bad.
Yeah.
Trolling him so bad. Um, were you one that ever, I'm going to go into conspiracy for just a second. Were you ever one that thought that there was something in the coffin that shouldn't be
No.
there, that maybe it was too heavy for some other reason other than some
Mhm.
ashes of a particularly petite woman?
Right. I don't get into the conspiracy theory so much. I feel like there was something sketchy with the actual plot of her being buried there, but I was never one to pick up anything hidden in the coffin per se. But to each their own. I could be
That's
wrong.
me. I'm the for each their own. So here's the thing, right? Like you got all these guys carrying that coffin, they're straining. I saw the video.
Mhm.
But Spirit pinged me when he was talking about the boat and he was talking about the boat's too heavy. And I just went, "Ding. Why is a boat too heavy?" I mean, I
Mm.
know we're already talking about sharks and batteries and I know none of this makes any sense. But you know how liars tell the truth like just a little tiny bit? I got pinged with the heavy boat and the heavy coffin. I don't know. I'm just saying. So I also know that you don't see him fleeing. I don't see him successfully
Mhm.
fleeing. I think he wants to. I think you think the same thing. Like you can go into his
He
energy and
doesn't
see
want to,
he has a
but
lot of plans that are never going to happen.
if he absolutely had to me it feels like it's like that last ditch effort to evade. Like if he was going to actually be
Be
sentenced
arrested.
to jail and he was going to actually have to do it, he would much rather get out of it by being president. And he
Yeah.
doesn't want to leave, but if he had to, he would. But I feel like he's being too closely watched. I don't see him being successful
That's what
with
I
that.
think too. I mean, there's a Secret Service, one particular Secret Service, at least person, um, who I think is particularly,
Yeah,
on
he's got somebody
guard for that.
watching them. Somebody
What's
watching
that?
them. somebody
Yes,
keeping a
yes.
good
I
eye
feel
on
like
him.
there's one that's particularly on guard for that. Yeah, Cece, I know coffins are heavy. I've buried a lot of people in my life. I know. And you want to know what? The people I buried, they were in the coffin. Their body was in the coffin, not just
It
some
was really
ashes.
heavy, right?
This was just some ashes in that coffin, y'all. I don't care. The energy some other people have gotten it. Who knows? We could all be wrong, but something's up with the coffin. So
I
we
always
can
felt like it was something sketchy, like for tax purposes, or
for sure,
um,
yeah.
I think that there's write-offs that you can do if it's a
Yeah, that's
burial.
true. I mean, he did it
It
on the
felt like it
golf
was
course.
something sketchy like that. I wasn't
Yeah,
particularly picking up anything in the coffin, but like I
yeah.
said, I could be wrong. I know a lot of people have
Oh
picked it
no,
up.
I could be wrong too. Right? Jean just said it's been flooding in Florida. That sucker might start floating. You never know. Uh you never know. I tell you, spirit is not on this man's side at all. This
No, he's got a rough summer.
his karma's coming. Yeah.
So what do we
So
want
do
to
you
talk about? Do we want
yeah,
to
do you have
go
any
into,
questions?
well, I'm sure a lot of people want to talk about Hunter Biden. I don't know if you've talked about that yet or not.
Yeah, yeah. Um I feel sorry for the guy, but I have to say that I think the beauty of it is Hunter and his dad hugging. To me,
Mm,
that was such a healing visual, a healing moment for our whole country, right? Like
yeah.
um I love it for us. I love it for democracy because Biden said, I'm not going to pardon him. I'm not going to commute his sentence. I am his dad. I am not the president in this regard. And I think that was really a big boost to democracy everywhere.
Mm.
It was really, really beautiful. I don't think I hope it's behind him. I know that I've talked about them hounding Hunter and hounding him and hunting him. And I kind of feel like this closes the door on some of that energy. What do you think?
Closes the energy on what? I'm sorry.
On them hunting and hounding Hunter.
Oh, I don't know about that, Susan. I don't think they can help themselves. But
Well, I mean, it's like
um,
Hillary, right? I mean, they pick on and remember Michelle Obama. They pick on somebody and then they just take it. But I don't know. I just don't know that it's going to stick. It just doesn't
well,
feel like it has the same staying power that it used to have.
I agree with you on that because Hunter Biden's not running for president. He's not in his father's administration or cabinet. So really, the fact that he was charged on anything is pretty irrelevant to Biden, right? And in his running. Um,
Yes,
but they're
in a
going to
democracy.
continue their fake impeachment, digging into Biden and impeaching his cabinet and all of that. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just it's all chaos is what they want to bring. I
That's true.
felt with Hunter, I'm not picking up on. I'm feeling like probation. I'm not
Yeah.
picking up on jail time.
Mhm.
Um, but it is kind of. I feel I got a hit that I felt like he was going to get a not guilty, but I think last minute he had planned on taking the stand, and I think he would have had like sympathetic jurors had he done that. I kind of feel like it was a mistake not to do that because I think
Yeah.
there were a lot of people. I think he would have had holdouts, and it would have been a hung jury had he done that. Is kind of what I was thinking.
Didn't one of the jurors say that it was going to be a hung jury? I mean, well, I
I
think
heard
one of
that
the
like 6 of them didn't want to
yeah,
convict him. They
exactly.
don't want any jail time for him. But I mean, I think the evidence is pretty clear. He was abusing drugs when he got the gun, and there was no denying that. But had he actually went on the stand and had a heartfelt speech about his struggles and his recovery and how far he's come, and I feel like he would have really touched a lot of people, um, you know, nationwide, but also the jury. And I feel like they would have really sympathized with him and
Right,
not convicted him. Is kind of my feeling. But I've
right.
always felt a little bit more trouble for him with the tax case.
Do you
Um,
really? Okay.
I never felt jail time, but it feels like maybe there's stricter
Oh,
penalties with the
fines?
financial fines, and I feel probation. But I don't really. I agree with you. I don't feel it affecting Biden's his campaign and his presidency. But I feel like the Republicans aren't done attacking Hunter Biden or trying to, create chaos in the meantime.
I feel sorry for the guy. I mean, I really saw
Yeah.
a while back, I just saw him being hunted and hounded, just mercilessly, right?
Mhm. I'll say though, I think it does. I actually think it's good that he was found guilty. I feel bad for him, but I think in the sense that a lot of these Republicans have made it seem like Biden has weaponized the DOJ. I mean, do you really think that he's going to set his son up to make it seem like it's not political? You know what I mean?
Right.
I think that the MAGAs are going to think that regardless, but I think maybe some moderate Republicans or independents that lean Republican that felt like maybe all of these cases were an attack on Trump. I think that this makes it clear that you know it's fair. It's not weaponized by Democrats.
Right. I agree. I mean, they may not see that, but everybody else can see it, right? It's what
Hmm.
I'm saying, right? Like this was democracy. This is how it's supposed to work. And even for the whole world, this is how it's supposed to work. The president is supposed to say, we have free, and fair court cases. I'm not going to intervene. That I think it was really important for us to
Yeah,
see this. I really
absolutely.
do.
Well, because if Trump was president and it was
Oh,
his son,
oh yeah.
he would have got those charges dismissed. And actually, I think that the DOJ, in all fairness, should go after Trump's son because we know, for
Yeah.
entertainment purposes only, Junior, he likes to party, he likes to sniff, and he's a big gun person. So why aren't they going after him? Fair's fair, right?
Well, they gotta have evidence, you know what I mean? So if they yeah.
I'm
I
sure
feel
it's not
like
hard to
any
find.
what's that?
I'm sure it's not too hard to find
Well,
or
no, I
figure.
know, but they gotta have cause for
I
going
know,
after the
I know.
evidence.
I'm just
I
saying
kinda
though.
feel like what do you think about this? Because this is kinda to me, this is kinda like how the whole thing hinges is on Trump is on July 11th. Like everything hinges on that. Once
Mm,
Trump is whatever they put him in home arrest, deferred, whatever it is they do, I feel like it's going to be worse than deferred. I think it's going to be house arrest. And I think to me, that's
okay.
the lightest that I would even accept as a citizen. But once that happens, that's when I feel like Jack Smith and everything starts moving towards maybe investigating Don Jr. and investigating all of these Jan 6 unnamed co-conspirators and
Yeah.
the congressional people. I just feel like then everything gets a green light. Like once they get Trump locked in, they go after everybody else. Do you feel
I
like
could
that too?
definitely, absolutely. I feel like it's going to be a crazy summer. September feels huge. A lot of investigations. I feel more indictments coming for. I feel more for Trump, but also maybe they start to get into some of the January 6th indictments. Um, but
All
more
of a
charges
sudden, they're
against Trump.
investigating Jared. All of a sudden, they're investigating Jared
I got a
Kushner.
hit and I put it in my 2024 predictions. And timing's not always the easiest, but I was picking up August. Jared may get indicted.
They
It's
are
happening
going
soon.
after him right now. Today, it just started.
Okay.
So something's
Is this
going on.
the DOJ going after him or is
I
it like
think it
Congress
is the
investigating?
DOJ. It's the I can't remember. I'm just right now I'm getting FBI. I don't know who it was, but oh no, you
Okay.
know who it is? It's the Senate. I think
It's
it's
the
the
Senate, yeah.
Senate. You guys correct me. Tell me because I'm connected to the spirit guides and I'm getting too many different things at once. I think it was the Senate, but anyway, there's teeth behind it. This is going someplace. This is not a waste of anybody's time. This is definitely going someplace. So you had already
Oh,
gotten that.
can I pull this up real quick, Susan?
Yeah, 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 sure.
And I don't know if it's confirmed because we're live, but Wiki's saying breaking Senate to vote on SCOTUS ethic package. I think that that's great, but I see Republicans throwing a huge fit about it.
Well, they can, but we got the
They
Senate
can't.
Democrats, right? The Senate Democrats are doing it.
Right.
Um, this is what we all needed to see. This is what everybody needs to see. We need to have faith. We need to feel like justice is happening in some fashion.
Yeah.
And I think that Rose Blue says in all caps, read on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes,
But we
ma'am.
both did say we felt like a lot of this dark money and dark money channels being exposed before the election, and I feel like it all
Oh,
comes
wait.
from them.
Yes, 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 yes.
And it's bigger than just the Supreme Court. I actually see looking into, you had a bunch of senators in Russia when Trump was president that got a bunch of money. I mean, it feels like it gets even bigger. It feels like a huge investigation.
To me, it's Alito. And I got the Alito thing before. And you guys that watch my channel, I did the video where I said there's a donkey in the hen house. And I told you guys there's somebody who's going undercover. Look what
Mm,
happened. The woman went undercover, and Mrs. Alito had no problem telling them everything that she wanted to
yeah.
tell them. And then he told them a bunch of things. And then, for contrast, this same undercover donkey went over to Justice Roberts, and he did not. So he passed the
Mm,
test. He said, "No, I have, neighbors of all different creeds, nationalities, religions. No, I'm not for that." So, it wasn't a gotcha. It was a simple question that the Alitos could have said the same thing that Robert said, but they didn't. So I feel like Alitos is on fire. Like he surpassed Thomas as far as the person, the judge who's now in the biggest hot water. And I feel like he becomes a problem for them the way Cawthorn was a problem for the House, and they had to get rid of him. And
hmm
I feel like his energy now just went to the top of the list, whereas before, maybe after the election, maybe in 2025, I thought I saw those two going. But I think now the timeline is just jumped up. What do you get with that?
Okay. I wasn't picking up on a timeline jump, but I hope you're right with that, Susan. But I always felt massive investigations into the Supreme Court and especially Alito, Thomas. I feel like Thomas may leave before, either
Do
just
you?
before the
Oh,
election
because of
or
the
right
health.
after health stuff and
Yeah.
his wife being in trouble. Um, but the thing is even if they do go hard on Alito, he's
He
not
doesn't
one.
want to
He's
give
not
it
going to
up.
recuse himself. I mean,
No, you're
he
right.
cares about power and power only.
Yeah.
Um, and this is like trying to hang into control. But I do feel like there is retreat there, Four of Swords. So there's big investigations and a lot coming out, a lot being illuminated. I think it will bring us a sign of hope of actual positive changes happening for the Supreme Court. To me, I'm not picking up super fast energy with it, and it almost feels like maybe the investigations carry over into um,
25.
25 when Democrats have a little bit more power and can actually change rules. Because the thing is I don't know what all they can do if they were going to try to change the rules now. They would have to do something with the filibuster because Republicans aren't going on.
For sure. No, you're right. I mean,
So,
it's
but
unless
maybe, uh, I was just
unless
going to
they
say,
step down.
right, and I don't see him doing that. Thomas, I surprisingly enough, Thomas has that same kind of energy. He doesn't
Yes,
care. Prove
he
it.
does. It's
There's
true.
an entitlement there.
It's
But
true.
I kind of feel like the pressure along with health challenges being the reason why he steps down. Alito feels like he's fighting a little bit more against it.
The only thing that I would say is that Jenny doesn't want Thomas to step down,
Well,
and
right, yeah.
Martha Ann does want Alito to step down, according to what she told that woman. When he's done
Okay.
with all this business, I'm going to fly whatever flag I want. Like
But
she doesn't support him.
I don't see her wanting him to step down while we have a Democrat in office. If
That
Trump
could be.
won,
They are very,
she would be all for it. Retire.
yeah.
Let's get
Oh,
somebody
yeah,
younger
yeah.
in
No,
there.
they'd retire the next
Time to
day.
retire.
They would.
Yeah. But
Yes, they
with
would.
Democrats being in there, I see him fighting.
But
Unfortunately.
so if Biden wins in November, you don't see them stepping down, say, in December or December 30th or 31st?
I
No?
feel like I'm picking up Thomas. I could be wrong with Alito. I kind of feel like that goes into 2025.
Okay.
And I
We'll
don't
see,
even think
guys,
it's
the
just
energy.
Alito. I think that they're going to do looking into Kavanaugh because he got a bunch of money and a lot of
Yes.
his debt paid
Yes,
off.
I got Kavanaugh
Um,
too. I did. I did too.
And I think
The-
Amy Coney Barrett's benefited too financially. So
yeah. 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 Yeah.
I have, well, I don't know if it's really a question. If you want, we can turn it into one. But
Hmm.
did you hear about how they had a special election for a Congress race um, yesterday here in Ohio? Now it stayed red. It was in a very red district. I think Trump won it by like 30 points. But
Yeah.
this all goes into the polling being wrong, um, because it it was a Trump 30 district, and I think the Republican won it by 9 points.
Yeah.
So in a red district, I mean, I don't think it's going to be quite like that when you have turnout like an election turnout. Um, but I think that the fact that you see that Democrats are energized and making that big of a difference, it's going to come over into a good 4, 5, 6% plus for
Yeah.
Democrats, I think.
And that should empower us
Yeah,
to donate more, work harder, because we probably could have flipped that seat had we even known that it was going to get that close, but it was such a, like, we thought it was going to be a blowout.
yeah. Well, you
So
know
yeah, I
what,
think you're
Susan?
right. It makes a lot of things kind of within winnable range.
Mhm. Yesterday, I heard that, who's the head of the DNC? I can't think of
Oh,
his name.
is it Harrison? No.
Harrison, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I heard that they're investing like $2 million into red states, into like 11 red states and districts to actually put infrastructure and because of
Oh
this
yeah,
Roe v.
nice.
Wade. Because I think that they see that they're going to be more competitive, even in
Nice.
some pretty red districts and red states. So they're putting investments in, and I see them actually putting a lot more money into it. Texas, Utah, I think South Dakota, like a lot of red states that you wouldn't necessarily think that they would put the money in. But I mean, I feel like a good amount of money going there. And we know that all the money on the Republican side is going to Trump and his legal stuff.
Yeah.
So,
He just pulled out what, 5 million or something? Just like yesterday. He just pulled out a
oh
bunch of
really?
money out of the
Mhm.
out of the RNC and into his campaign, directly into his campaign.
Yeah,
So yeah, look, it's ours to lose in some ways, right? And conversely, you guys, let's go from, maybe winning 2 Senate seats, which is a terrible Senate map. Like, we shouldn't be winning any Senate seats
exactly.
because
We
it's
should lose these.
gerrymandered.
Mhm.
But let's go from that. Let's try to get 4 Senate. Let's try to get 3. Let's try to get more than
Mhm.
what we've been predicting psychically. Like, how many are you predicting now for the Senate?
Well, I do feel that Democrats are going to lose that West Virginia seat with Joe Manchin leaving,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
think
yeah.
they would have lost it anyway, to be honest with you. I don't think that the few Democrats in West Virginia were very happy with Manchin. So, what, we're at 51, so that would make it 50-50. Um, my guides have told me that Democrats will flip between 2 to 4 Republican seats to blue. And my
Yeah.
eyes have been put on Texas. I feel like Ted
Yes.
Cruz is out.
Yes.
Um,
He's out.
Holly very well could be out in Missouri. I feel like there's a
Mhm.
chance for Gloria Johnson to win
Yes,
in
I do too.
Tennessee. And the one that feels like it's like probably the longest shot, but it's still at play is I think Florida with Rick Scott.
Yeah, Mercursul, whatever
Yeah,
her name
it's a
is.
female running
Debbie.
against him.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So you guys, but these aren't guaranteed things. This is the
Right.
energy suggest, and we have a lot of work to do. We
Mhm.
still need to be, because it's not the MAGAs. We're not trying to win over any MAGAs. We're trying to get those people that are just completely like out to lunch, that don't realize that they're not going to be able to buy contraceptives, that don't realize
Yeah.
that they are going to potentially lose their lives if they're female and they run into a trouble having a baby. We've got to educate the people who just are out to lunch. Those are the people who we need to be communicating with and working with.
Tell everybody watching, make sure that you vote, obviously, but tell your family or those that are kind of on the fence, because there's a lot of people that aren't excited about either candidate. I mean, Biden's a little old, well, so is Trump. But when they kind of go back and forth because they're unhappy with where things are right now, just tell your friends to research Project 2025, and this is the plan that Republicans want to do. And it is so extreme and out of control. I think it would make a difference. And I feel like Democrats talking about that too. I don't see that craziness being enacted, but they're telling you what their goals are. You know, they if they had it their way, they would take away women's right to vote, along with their decisions to make, to make decisions for their body.
Right. That's right. That's very true. Um, So let's grab some of these questions. I did star one or two. This is interesting to me. This is a really big deal, I think. And also it's a big deal that it's now known. I think
Mm-hmm.
we need to understand that this kind of thing, no one was even talking about 6 months ago. So the fact that they're talking about it now, I think is a really good sign. Trini
Yeah.
says, Sinclair had all their TV stations. This has been proven. Okay, say that Biden has dementia all at once across the red states. They're pushing conspiracy theories. So
Yeah.
I have a graphic of all the Sinclair stations, but there you can Google what stations do Sinclair own, and then again, like Kevin was saying, you might want to talk to your friends and say, I wouldn't watch that station because they've been proven to be disinformation. I mean, maybe they believe you, maybe they don't, but just entering in that little piece of doubt can help them. What do you
Yeah.
think is going to happen with that? Do you feel like we're going to be getting some legislation around our media?
Absolutely. And it's not even just the media, it's social media. Um, there's a lot of conspiracy theories that are pushed on that. And then you have AI coming into the mix too, where they can manipulate people's voices to make it sound or make it look like they did something or said something that they didn't, which I think will be
Mhm.
probably done on both sides. I don't think Democrats will have clean hands with that either. Um, but yes, it doesn't feel like it's before the election. Unfortunately, it feels like it's after the election.
It's after the election. The before the election is like the Wild West, you guys.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a little bit all over the place and kind of wild.
The thing
But
is, though, is that it's even going to make it a little bit tricky for what we do on YouTube, I feel like, because you're going to have to say like I always say for entertainment purposes only, just to protect myself. I'm sure you do too, but it's going to be like things are going to have to be fact checked and verified, or they're going to have to be said that, um, you know, this hasn't been fact checked, something along the lines of that. But there has to be like it has to be verified with like a label. I think especially for the news, but it's going to be tricky amongst social media and even like YouTube, what we do.
yeah, I agree. It's going to change everything, but we have to. We don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be better for us in the end.
Oh, absolutely. Get all that misinformation out of the news, and well, and it's going to be part of this, deprogramming some of these people that have been brainwashed and, their cult mentality, because when you feed people fake news and, you allow them to kind of live in this alternative reality that's not grounded, yeah, you have to do something because it's getting dangerous.
Right. And look, according and Lucy says, she says, yes, Kevin, I too have heard many say they don't care for either candidate. I'm telling them to vote, 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 trying to let them see the light. Hope I can help in some way.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, again, I'm telling you guys can tell people. I love the way Biden hugged his son and but yet said, I'm not going to commute your sentence. I'm not going to pardon you. But, the Texas governor pardoned that freaking murderer. You know what I mean? Like, there's
Hmm.
no reason to pardon people. They're pardoning people that they're not really, you know what I mean? There's a difference between the two sides. So maybe we all should just write down 3 things that make Biden different. If somebody says, well, they're both old, I can't get excited about either one. Biden has forgiven student debt.
Yeah.
Biden didn't parole his own son. Biden got the CHIP Act passed. Now, look at our freaking stock market. I mean, look at
I was going to
there
say,
there really are things. If you just write them down, not yelling at people, but you can say, well, I think it's interesting because Trump did this, but Biden did this. Again, all we want to do is leave a little doubt in their mind, get the ball
Hmm.
rolling.
Well, and me and you both have said we feel like a huge outreach um, for Democrats and for Biden this summer. To me, it feels like August, September specifically, but a big push to get like momentum, excitement because it's so important. Um, did you hear today with the was it the inflation reports? I don't know if they were talking about dropping interest rates just yet. I'd felt like they were going to, and um, towards the end of the year. But how do you feel about the economy? I did have somebody email me and want to know what we feel like for the economy for the second half of the year.
Well, I think it's interesting that some of these corporations like Target have come out and said, oh, our bad. We're going to lower the prices. Silly us.
Mhm.
We don't know how they got so high. So I think that's really going to help Biden. And I think, when a corporation does something, it's going to take a little time. So I think by the
Yeah.
time the prices start to come down, it could be around October, which would be perfect timing for Biden. I also I'm seeing something with the housing market. I'm seeing a bit of a glut I'm seeing not everywhere. I'm not saying some of you guys might live in Seattle or San Francisco or I don't know, but I'm
Mhm.
seeing towards the middle and end of the summer, I'm seeing a glut in rentals. So I'm seeing rent come down a little bit and I'm seeing housing prices come down a little bit. So
Okay.
that's going to, I mean, that's always the double-edged sword. They're trying to sell your house. You know what I mean? But I think in that way, I think the economy could be doing, I mean, I feel like it stalls a little bit, but I think it's going so well that if we stall, it's still not going to be that bad. What did you get?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I do feel like there being an interest rate drop. To me, it felt like towards the end of the year. Um, but unfortunately, I'm not feeling a market crash. I mean, the stock market's doing great. I do feel like a lot of these. I don't even think inflation's really the issue, to be honest with you. I think a lot of it is corporate greed,
Yeah.
um, and they're making record profits. I do feel it getting better in some areas, so maybe the housing coming down. But I do feel like for some products, I think gas, obviously, it always goes up when we have a Democrat in office around the election time. But it feels like other things coming down too. So while gas might be higher because they're price gouging it, groceries start to come down, or the rent is starting to come down, although it still feels like it's a little high. But I'm not feeling anything crazy.
I'm not feeling anything crazy. It's a gentle easing. It's just, you're crash landing a plane. It's a hot economy in the sense of the
Yeah,
stock market and people, I need suburban housewife says Biden economy says it's great, but my kitchen table says different. Biden needs to hear us. I agree. And today he said prices are still not low enough. He heard you. You're not hearing the message because probably you're watching Sinclair or some media outlet that's not, he's talking, no one's giving him any air time. He
yeah,
said the
exactly.
prices aren't low enough. He knows that. He's still working on it. He's just the president. He doesn't control Walmart or Target or now you have the bird flu running rampant through the chicken farms. Now chicken's going to go expensive again. Eggs are going to go expensive again. These things is not Biden's problem, but Biden is
Right.
going to get blamed for it, right? And I hate to tell it, you guys, but our clientele, our viewers are of a certain age, and the people that are buying everything have money. They're
Hmm.
The corporations wouldn't charge so much money if people weren't buying their products. That's supply and demand. So somebody out there has a lot of money and they're buying and buying and buying. And so the corporations are like, hey, you guys want to buy it? We'll just keep raising the prices, right?
Yeah.
When we get into next year is when I think that these corporations are going to be hauled before Congress, and you're going to have people like, Warren and Elizabeth Warren and different people say, no, you cannot. We're going to start really challenging about this price gouging thing. But yeah,
You know
I
what they're
think the
going to
economy
do?
is going to be decent.
Well, right. I feel like the economy being stable. I do feel like although I don't know how much the news is going to be airing it, because we know that they like to focus on Trump and the fear-based, the stuff so that you watch the news all day. But I see Democrats really messaging with the economy stuff. But the
Better,
reason
better.
things are going to be increased as well is because, you know, they enjoy their tax cuts that they get with Republicans, right?
That's right.
And Biden, they're not going to be very happy when Biden gets his revenge and they start taxing
Right.
corporations and
Right. Right.
billionaires.
And that's such a good point, Barbara, that Biden reduced insulin. My God, if
Yeah.
nothing else, people went from paying several $100s a month in insulin, right? Down to whatever it is, 35 or whatever it is. These are things we need to be better about reminding people, right? But yeah, this I agree. The economy is not going down. I do
No,
think,
I
and
don't
somebody
think
said this
that.
in the comments, I do think people will stop buying it. I do. I haven't done a video on this yet, but it's the guides show me like a school of fish, which is like consumers in
Mhm.
America, and they just go this way. You know what I mean? Like they're just
Yeah.
like we're not buying anything. They just stop buying stuff. Like they disappear. you know? So that
Hmm.
that could really I think that's going to send a message to corporate America, and I don't think they're going to be prepared for it. So that could be a surprise for them.
Yeah. And I don't see like I said before, I know gas prices have been coming down. Um, I mean, Biden has been drilling a lot of oil and putting a lot in the stockpile, but so I think he's kind of released that to kind of mitigate the prices going up. So I'm not feeling like I'm in Ohio, and I think right now we're about 3.50 a gallon, which is kind of expensive. It just went up like 50 cents like overnight, um, but I know like the West Coast, it's a lot more expensive. But I feel like him having a plan and having a stockpile to kind of not get them so that they're going out of control, skyrocketing $5-6 a gallon. It feels
Yeah.
like it's a little bit more, but nothing like crazy. So I don't want to get
Right.
people all upset or scared about
No,
that.
no, no. No, no, no. 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 But it just yeah, see 479 in Seattle is definitely high.
Yeah.
And Biden just like Kevin said, I mean, all he can do is go into our stockpile. We're not responsible. My God, Saudi Arabia owns the oil processing plants in Texas. We don't even
Hmm.
process our own oil. We buy it from them. They process it. I mean, why do we allow that? Why do we allow these foreign countries to come in and buy our things that are so important to us, like farmland? You know what I mean? Like, I think for our own safety and security, we shouldn't allow them to own these things personally.
Yeah. Well, and do you feel like Biden's second term that there's
Oh,
actually
yeah.
looking into that
Yes.
and making some
Yes.
changes?
Yeah. Well, suburban housewife, if you believe Biden has powers he's not using, I mean, what are they? You know what I mean? So, I mean, are you just saying that he's specifically trying to hurt us? Because I don't agree with that. I don't
Mhm.
when I go into his energy psychically, this man is not trying to hurt us. This man is sacrificing his health, his life in some ways. He doesn't need to be doing this, right? He could have walked away from
Yeah.
this and said, "Forget it, guys. This country's crazy. I'm not doing this." I really
He's
have a
very
different feeling about
he's a
Biden.
very compassionate and giving person.
Yeah,
He will
he
give you
is.
the shirt off of his back.
Yeah,
I feel like that is one thing is he really wants to do well for other people. He's just kind of
yeah,
binded. I mean, we don't have the House. We have the filibuster in the Senate right now, so it's not like he's gotten some things done by with bipartisanship. But the way that the Congress has went since they've taken power, there's no working across the aisles
there
right now. And
there's he's very limited.
yeah,
Um, and then when he does things by executive power, he gets conked upside the head for it. I guess he's in a
yeah,
no-win situation.
that's
But
very true.
and I'm not saying that I agree with everything he does, because I don't. I actually do
Yeah,
not agree with everything he does. But guess what? He's a damn good president. And
mm,
he's a damn good president. Honestly, he really is. We could have done a lot worse. So let's see.
yeah,
What
for
did you
sure.
ask me? Did you feel, are you changing your mind, or because I feel like not changing your mind, but the energy around 45, so the energy in general to me feels like it's speeding up, like manifesting wise. It
Yeah.
feels like the energy is speeding up. So you guys out there, it's a good time to sort of be real positive, because if the energy is speeding up and you're manifesting, I don't have enough money, blah blah blah, negative, which may be true, but you don't want to manifest more of it. Do you feel like 45's energy, as far as his, this is kind of a timing question, but do you feel like his lifespan or his, uh, his vitality, do you feel like anything is changing with that?
Yeah, and I think vitality is a good word for it, because I don't know if we can predict when somebody's going to actually go. I feel like major medical health issues this summer.
Mhm, mhm,
It's
yeah.
like he's so full of rage. We can see that cognitively he's not there. I believe that there's some dementia there. And it's like all of the stress from all the legal challenges, the campaign, all of this anger, it's just going to get to a boiling point where something, all that steam, all that anger has to be released. And to me, I've always felt like, and maybe like a stroke is kind of
Mhm,
what I was kind of picking up, but I do feel like there's
mhm,
definitely dementia there too.
mhm. Yeah, it's a nice concoction of different things that is catching up with him. Really, it is. So,
Yeah.
because somebody asked a question about that. I mean, I feel like right now, what I feel like is whatever happens to him, whether it's a stroke or cognitive decline or a whole slew of things, I don't know that I see him just dropping dead. I kind of feel
Right.
like he kind of lingers and kind of like gives us more opportunities to deal with him in a new way.
Mm. I don't know though. I just threw some cards and they're not looking very good.
Oh, well, I'll go with your prediction. I'll
It's
be
something
happy
with
to.
the brain, but it could be the heart too, because he's got heartache, sadness, and then like you can see they're like dissecting the
Oh
brain
my
to a sort
god.
here. But he's got in this deck, they have chakra cards. He's got the crown chakra, which is the spiritual center of the body. We know he doesn't hang out in there too often.
No, I don't even know he
But,
has one.
but it's interesting because he's got the Six of Swords, which typically is kind of moving into calmer waters. But in this deck, it's a portal moving into the light. And the Star card, too. So he's moving into the light and he's getting close to that sense of completion with the World card.
Adios,
So
muchacha.
I
Adios.
don't know if it's a passing, but I don't see his life force being there in 5-10 years from now. We'll just say
Oh, 10 years? How about 5, 10 months?
that. Right. I think that that's a fair point.
Yeah. I agree. So I think he's just gonna cause more trouble in a different way. If I had
Mm.
to describe it, that's kind of what I would say. Um, Weekend at Bernie's, they might weekend at Bernie's him. They might just put him over in the corner and uh, film him every once in a while. I don't
The
know.
thing though too, Susan, is, and I've had this. I'm not the strongest medium for sure. I wouldn't say it's my strongest gift, although I can connect to the other side. But I have done readings for people where they've had a parent or a loved one that's had dementia or Alzheimer's, and you can kind of connect to them on that same medium
Oh, that's
channel.
true. That is true.
So it could be a bit of like mentally, he's still physically in his body, but he's already somewhat transitioned over if it's cognitive stuff too. So
100%. That is true. Because if your body, like even if you're in like a coma or
mhm.
or cognitive decline, your soul's like, peace out. I'm not going to stay in that body. And then you can talk to them as if they've crossed over. That's 100% true.
Yeah.
Wow. Um,
So
yeah.
the cards could be saying that too. I feel.
Yeah. And dehydration, that did you read on that stuff that he had in his mouth, that foaming at the mouth thing?
I saw it. I didn't read on it though, but I'm not really. I'm
Somebody's
not
asking in
sure
the
what that
chat.
could actually mean. But to me, I don't know if it felt like it was like he had rabies and was foaming at the mouth. Doesn't feel like that.
No.
To me, it feels like maybe being a bit dehydrated or
Dehydrated. To me, it's dehydrated. Yeah. But I mean, that's pretty dehydrated. I mean, you
Yeah.
don't see people running marathons that are foaming at the mouth, right? Like, so that's, to me, that's like, I feel like I saw that with my dad who had Parkinson's, and towards the end he had that Parkinson's dementia, and he had that same stuff, because you're not
Mhm.
swallowing. It's dehydrated because you're not, your saliva is not, you're not producing, or you're not swallowing, something going on there.
And
uh
because it feels like it was that, but him also being a bit amped up too, if that makes
yeah,
sense. I
yeah.
don't know if there's some kind of stimulant he was on to kind of amp him up, or maybe a stimulant kind of could affect like dehydration levels too.
No,
It
that,
feels
yeah.
like there's a bit of like a being amped up with it as well, though. But I agree, it feels like he was dehydrated. It doesn't feel like he was having a stroke at that moment,
No.
or
And
anything
you
like
know
that.
what? When you say amped up, they just reminded me. I talked about this in some videos sometime, but
Hmm.
there also is energy around him taking too many of those, allegedly anyway, for entertainment purposes only. There's energy around him taking too many, because he's tired and he's trying to amp himself up, right? To be up and be there. And I think he overdoes it. So that's also energy in an overdose
Yeah.
that I picked up. For now, the last couple of weeks, I've been picking it up.
Okay.
Everybody's asking about France. I Did you read about that? I think you didn't you,
I did.
yesterday?
I don't. I am not very knowledgeable about.
I don't
I
understand it
think
either.
they're doing a vote for his cabinet. I said I did feel like there might be some gains from the far right, but I felt like it was going to be okay. Doesn't feel like a takeover or anything crazy, but it also doesn't feel like a victory um, for the right side either. It kind of feels like it's concerning, but it doesn't feel like it's chaos or you know huge catastrophe.
Right.
What do you
So
think
I
up with
guess
it?
one of the leaders of the right, the not conservative, one of the leaders of the conservative party had to lock himself in his office. But I guess this is not something out of the common for France.
Hmm.
But there seems to be some coalitions trying to form around far right to get even more power with this
Yeah,
snap vote. I don't see it. I could be wrong, but I don't see the right getting this big power grab. I think it was ballsy of Macron to do this. I think, you know, that's a pretty kind of ballsy thing to do, but he did it. But I think what I'm hearing is it's going to hold the alliance, or, it's not going to be it's not going to be a big left win either. But I don't
yeah,
think the right is going to win. I think it's the left is going to keep the majority,
I
but
agree.
it's not going to be by a landslide. I mean, it's meant to be
And
a war.
there's
We're
definitely
supposed to be
gains.
worried.
Hmm. There's definitely gains on the far right side or the conservative side,
Oh,
but it doesn't
kidney
feel like
issues.
a takeover or anything crazy. I agree 100%, Susan. Can we
And
go
go
ahead
ahead.
if you're not? I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No, no. I was just reading a nurse, and it reminded me that another person commented in my video yesterday that there's something about the ears, that there's a telltale sign with your ears if you have some kind of cardiac blockage. And they were
Uh huh.
diagnosing Trump's ears and saying that one has like minimal and the other one shows bigger blockage. I don't know. I think
Oh
it's
wow.
hilarious that we have all these medical people here on the
Interesting.
chat. So yeah, so we got a lot of nurses in here diagnosing him. So go ahead. What were you gonna say, dear?
I was just gonna say I saw a lot of people in the chat talking about it, um, and it's I'm not picking up a cause for concern, but um,
With France.
Russia's no, well, Russia's warships going to Cuba.
Oh, thank you. Russia's warships. Yes, let's talk about that. Yes.
To me,
I
it
mean,
feels like it's kind of like them just showing that they're aggressive, kind of.
right.
But it doesn't. I'm not. I know people. It sounded like some people were kind of freaking out, or it feels like it's like military um,
They're probably
showboating.
trying to keep Ukraine from bombing them.
Right, right.
you know? And then the other thing is they're over here to pick up Trump. Trump is over there, rowing over to Cuba, and the Russians are going to pick them up. No, I don't. I think it's just like you're saying. It's posturing.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
posturing.
posturing. Please get him, Trini said. Please.
Well, they're doing military drills too, and we know that Russia's worked with Cuba before, so
Yeah.
it's all just to make it look like they're tough and look how strong they are.
Yeah.
But I mean, we kind of see what's going on in Ukraine, and I feel some for Russia, the Ukrainians. I see them starting to target some areas that of Russia control and in Russia. I had said I felt like um, what was that group called? The Wagner group, where their leader was killed.
What?
I
I
saw
said this
troops
too.
marching into Russia, and I feel like Putin's out sooner rather than later. And I'm almost wondering if it's the Wagner group or if it's the Ukrainian troops marching in, because I feel
What?
revolution happening in Russia within like the next year or two, tops.
Right. Right. Tops. That's so funny, Kevin, because I was doing a video whenever it was yesterday,
Hmm.
and I meant in my mind, I meant to say Prigozhin, but I said Kadyrov. And so when you're channeling like that, whatever you say is what they said. That wasn't a
Yeah,
mistake. So I said Kadyrov, and I knew something is up with Kadyrov, who's the guy you're talking about. So the other Prigozhin is dead. His military people got disseminated supposedly, but Kadyrov is a Chechen guy. Now he's supposed to be in the hospital sick. He's supposed to have some kind of pancreatic problem. Do
okay.
you feel like he's really sick? Thank you, Storm 88, and thank you for everybody else that's given super chats. Thank you.
Yes, thank you all. We appreciate that. I'm not familiar with who that is. What's their name
So
again?
Kadyrov is the Chechen. There were two military. Um, what do you call those people that are mercenaries?
Mercenary
Okay,
group.
right. So Putin had two mercenary war groups that did his
Hmm.
bidding. Prigozhin was the one that took the tanks and tried to go into Russia,
Right,
and then that's the guy that died in the plane wreck.
right,
Um,
right.
and Kadyrov is a Chechen who also was fighting against Ukraine, uh, but he does a lot of work for Putin too. And the word was a month or two ago that he was sick.
Ooh, yeah. I do feel like there's. I don't know about pancreatic. I am feeling abdomen though, like sacral chakra, and even in this deck, the Emperor, it's like the lower back, the sacral chakra,
Okay,
and the Tower. So there's something that's
rut
unstable there.
row. Ruh-roh. So he might be exiting stage left because I was talking about Prigozhin dying, and instead I
Mhm.
said Kadyrov. So
Interesting.
now,
So I
what
wonder
does
if
that
Putin's going to target him next, right?
could be? I mean, or Kadyrov's kid. This bothered me so much. I googled Kadyrov.
Hmm.
Like, where is he now? And the news said he's sick, but he has two kids. His kids are not old enough. They're 18, and then one is younger, two boys.
Okay.
But he could be supporting somebody who's taking over Putin, or they could take him out to get closer to Putin. Something's going on. I'm
I feel
telling you,
like an
something's going on there.
uprising. I feel like an uprising and Russia. I do feel like the guy's sick that you're talking about. I'm not really, like I said, I'm not for sure. To me, and actually, when I was feeling sacral chakra, maybe it feels like it's kidneys, something with like filtration. So maybe kind of similar to like
Okay.
liver. Um,
Yeah, that makes
but
sense.
well,
Bladder.
and I'm sure that there's probably people out there trying to pour something into his drink, right? If he's
It's
against
probably
against
so.
Putin. Um,
Probably so.
but I definitely feel I saw troops going up against Putin, like
Nice.
marching to Moscow.
Nice.
When it all happened before, I felt like it happening again. So to me, it would
Right.
be either Ukraine or it would be one of these mercenary groups again.
To me, I feel like it's the mercenary. I see
Yeah.
Ukraine bombing from the air. I don't see Ukraine even having the wherewithal to send troops on the ground. And now
That's
they have the
true.
jets.
Very true.
But I feel like the timing could be sooner. I feel like this could all happen in the next 3 to 6 months.
Okay. I feel a lot of protests and um,
Yeah.
civil upset in Russia this year. I mean,
Yeah.
I predicted a lot of protests
Yeah,
globally, but
me too.
specifically Russia was coming in very
But
strongly.
the timing, God, I got the timing
Yeah.
so wrong. But everything else that I predicted at the beginning of this stupid war has come true. Oh, and the guides just told me, I saw a news thing this morning about Crimea. So I feel like, and I think you do too, but I'm not sure. I feel like Ukraine is going to get all their land back. I feel like they're
Yeah.
going to get Crimea back. They're going to get the Donetsk. They're going to get everything that Russia annexed. They're going to get it back. And so I
Yeah.
saw a news clip this morning that says that this is the news saying Ukraine might get Crimea back. So there's real
Yeah.
progress being made right now.
They're just starting to get resources, and I think it's France, um, or one of the European countries are
Oh yeah,
sending
no, it was France. Yeah.
planes, which I think we both had predicted. We saw planes going to Ukraine.
Yep.
Um, but yes, I agree. I do feel them getting their territory back. Crimea feels like
I
it's
know.
negotiated a little bit later than
I
like the
know.
Donbass. Um,
I know.
but I don't see them negotiating and working while Putin's still around.
No, me either. No. I
I
was
think
kind of
Ukraine will get some of their land back by force, but I do feel like there's some negotiations or
yes.
talking when Putin's out
Yes.
of the picture.
I think that's Crimea. I think
Yeah, I
that's
do
the
too.
part that's going to be negotiated. And what the guides suggested is that I don't know. I'm just telling you what they suggested is that Ukraine go into like a 50-year lease. You're not going to annex it, but you can rent it. You can rent
Oh,
this,
interesting.
for 50 years. That way you get your port. That's what you wanted. But we get our money. And that sounds insane, I know, but if you have to negotiate something, like if you just have to get down to brass tacks, something has to change. So we'll see what happens with that. Maybe one or two more questions because I know that we did this a little earlier than we normally do it. So thanks to everybody. We've got 2,500, 2,550 in the chat,
Oh,
in
wow.
the viewing. Thank you so
Hey,
much.
everyone.
And it's
Hit that
early.
thumbs
It's
up.
yeah, please visit Kevin's channel. If you're on my channel, please visit my channel. If you're on Kevin's channel, and subscribe. It's free. It doesn't matter. It doesn't hurt.
Help,
It
help me
doesn't
get to
cost anything.
15,000 subscribers since Susan got to 50,000 on our last show.
That's
The channel.
right. That's right. How close are you to
That would be
15?
awesome. I last I checked, I was a couple hundred away, so we're getting up
Okay,
there.
y'all, come on, let's do it. Let's go to Kevin's channel. Please go to Kevin's channel and hit subscribe. Again, it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't mean anything except for that it helps Kevin. So it'd be a nice thing. It'd be really cool if we could boost him. He's a great reader, you guys. He's super
Oh,
accurate, super great guy. One of my favorite people to do political readings with. So please help him out.
thanks, Susan. And
Yeah,
please go
you're welcome.
support Susan as well. And I always really enjoy our political readings together, Susan. It's always a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and he keeps me grounded when somebody mentions Liz Cheney.
This
He
Jamie.
helps me. He helps me breathe through it, so I don't freak out or anything. Do we want to look at Biden's health? I saw. Was it Libby? If you guys watch Meister Tarot, I saw somebody do a. It wasn't. It was. It was. You know who it was? It was Marianne revealing light. She's great too. If you guys aren't watching her, she did a reading on Biden's health, and it was kind of, okay, not great, but okay. You see anything with Mr. Biden? Anything with President Biden?
Let me throw a couple cards on it. I do feel he's a bit tired,
Yeah.
and I mean, he has the hardest job in the world. I'd be surprised if he wasn't a little stressed and tired.
Who wouldn't? Look what happened to Obama. They
Exactly.
go in like young and they come out like aged, like 40 years or something.
Yeah, he probably has more energy than I do to do that job. I'm just saying.
Seriously. Oh, you don't have to donate. That's not at all. Just hit the subscribe button. But thank you though. Appreciate you.
Um, I do feel like emotionally with his son, I feel like that's kind of
Yeah.
really tugging on him too.
Yeah.
I'm not picking up anything
Good.
like super concerning at the moment. I do feel like maybe being pulled to like the abdomen in a year or two.
Mm-hmm. So
He
I
froze up.
didn't. I saw somebody
Yeah.
mention this, but I haven't seen this. Surprisingly, I haven't seen this everywhere. He froze up. I've seen this somewhere else too. Um,
I feel like he's got a lot of stress
I
is kind
think
of
it's
what I'm
stress.
feeling.
Yeah.
And feeling tired, and that's where it kind of feels like I'm not feeling like having
Yeah.
a stroke or like what McConnell was having with the
Yeah.
mini
Yeah.
strokes. I'm not
Yeah.
picking that up. I'm not
Yeah.
picking up dementia, although, like I said, it feels like there's a lot of mental fatigue there.
Mhm.
And like I said, it feels like emotionally he's kind of going through it right now. I do feel though there is energy kind of pulling me into the abdomen where maybe he has like an endoscopy or something like that. Not right now though. It feels like maybe in a year or two. Or like if they're looking like in the bowels or something like that that they're looking
Mhm.
into. But
Mhm.
I
Okay.
mean, besides the fatigue, I'm not picking up on anything right now. What about you, Susan? Is anything coming through to you?
Right. And I just want to say hello, Touched by Tarot and Beyond. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, Buffet.
Um, you know what this is just what I'm getting, guys, but I'm getting
Mhm.
more dehydration. I'm getting
Okay.
when your body gets to be a certain age and you're working and processing the stress that he is doing, I just think he was dehydrated. To me, I'm getting electrolytes, like literally like it was his brain. It absolutely was his brain, but to me it was electrolytes and it was dehydration. So you remember when Hillary fell out? Do y'all remember that? Y'all
Yeah.
remember when Hillary just fell down because of exhaustion and dehydration? It can happen, and
Mhm.
this is a high stress thing. So CC says, was it from right wing video, altered video? Well,
I
you're
wouldn't put it past
asking the
them either.
question, CC. I don't. You're just saying check your sources. You're not disproving it. Um, it's interesting that I saw it twice, but I didn't. If Biden really froze, I think we would see it. Like I think surely it would be
It would be
everywhere.
blasting over the news 24/7, right?
It would be on the news 24/7.
Mhm.
It looked real. Okay, gals out rest. I don't know, dear. I didn't see the video, but I
I
feel
haven't
like
seen it.
he was dehydrated. A Canary says that you were dehydrated. Dehydration is a big deal, guys. It can make you actually be loopy. It can do a lot of things. Okay, certainly. All right. Somebody else said he didn't freeze up. Okay, that's fine, guys. No reason to get hot under the collar. We're just looking at it. All right. Um,
Well, and we know with the AI too, like I wouldn't put it past the right wing to do that. I mean, it plays right into their narrative. I'm not saying that it didn't happen. Like I said, I haven't seen the video, but I'm not picking up on any major brain issue or stroke or anything like that. He feels like he's very tired.
yeah, just yeah, he when you go into his energy, he feels right now he feels defeated because of Hunter. He just feels tired. He's been fighting this for 4 years, this onslaught of horribleness. And he sees things we're not even I mean, he gets privy to things that we don't even get to see.
No, right.
Um I think
And just
he's
all the
just
stress and pressure of leading the country. I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure that there's sleepless nights all the time for him. There's something concerning that needs to be brought to his attention, and he has to always be readily available. I mean, it's a lot of it. It's the hardest job in the world. There's so much pressure associated with it. So,
Yeah,
like I said, I think he's probably more energized than what I would be if, if I was in that position. I don't think I could do that.
for sure. I don't think he takes anything. I think maybe he does take like a vitamin infusion, but I don't see Biden taking uppers or anything that
Right.
would give him more energy in any way. When I go into his energy, he's really old fashioned in that way. You know, he takes his vitamin C pill. You know what I mean? Like, I
Mhm.
just don't see him. He's never been a partier like Trump was. You know what I mean? He's not been that man. That's just not him.
Yeah. Well, and since Republicans and Trump want him to take a drug test before they debate, I think it's only fair that Trump takes one as well, right?
For sure.
I think Biden would say that too. Like, I'm down to take a drug test. You
For
take one
sure.
too, buddy.
Yeah.
But we know that Trump would have his what was his doctor that when he was in the White House. Oh, he's in pristine health, or oh, I don't remember how he phrased it, but we all knew that that was a load of crap, right?
That
So he
is
would just
a
hire
bridge too
somebody in
far.
there to say, "Oh, he's in perfect health," and no,
Yeah.
he passed the drug test.
And taller and thinner than, and
Right.
all the celebrities are like, well, I'm 6'3" and I stood next to him. You know what I mean? Like, okay, yeah, that's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, guys, I think we might have to close it out here. I know that Kevin's got another engagement, not a video engagement, but another engagement. We wanted to do this video. We didn't want to put it off, so we just kind of moved it up. So I appreciate everybody coming on early. I appreciate everybody watching. Please, like I said, go over to Kevin's channel, Kevin's Loving Vibrations, and click the subscribe. Not going to cost you anything. And you might even get the opportunity to watch some really good videos.
Thank you, Susan. And if
You're
anybody,
welcome.
I do readings or Reiki energy healing or a combination of both. If anybody's interested in that, you can check out my website, kevinslovingvibrations.com. I think I have some availability in July. I'm booked up for June, but not too far out.
Yeah. And look, getting your energy tuned up is a good idea right now because we've been hanging out in the disaster zone. You know what I mean? We've
Yeah.
been hanging out in literally kind of I hope Biden gets Reiki. You know what I mean? Like that would help Biden.
Right.
Like getting some Reiki would be great.
Well, and it's going to be an
Thank you,
intense
Gene.
summer and fall as we're getting closer to the election. So anything to kind of bring in those loving vibrations and that peace and calm, and I think especially like that grounded energy right now, help you get out of the fear and bring in those uplifted supportive energies. I think it's really important right now.
It's really important. Take really good care, everybody. It's gonna be okay. Everything is really gonna be okay. Truly, it is. We tell you what we get, and we would tell you if we
Yeah,
thought it was different. Okay.
absolutely.
Take really, really good care of yourselves. Okay, everybody.
And we'll be
We'll
back on soon, so
Oh
we'll have
yeah.
more to read on, right?
Oh yeah. Well, Kevin, you do a video every week. He does a live video every week on politics, and he takes your questions. So avail
Yeah, I
yourself
do a
of that.
Tuesday afternoon. Um, and I do a weekly show with Meldor as well. So, but me and
That's right.
Susan,
Yeah.
we'll keep you all informed with everything going on between now and the election as well. And
Oh
we'll
yeah, you have a question about holy fire. So Kevin, also, didn't you just get certified in holy fire?
yes, I'm a Holy Fire, a Karuna Holy Fire Reiki Master. I just did my training for that, and it's really strong, really intense, but very, very loving and uplifting Reiki energy. So, um, the whole class was extremely healing for myself. But the energy is definitely, there's nothing wrong with the Sui Reiki. I was trained in that beforehand, and it's wonderful energy too. But this holy fire and Karuna energy is really, really powerful stuff.
Are you going to be teaching classes on that? Earth Mama wants to know. So you guys can contact Kevin if you go to his website, kevinslovingvibrations.com.
Yes,
You can
I'm not
email him
teaching.
directly.
I'm not teaching just yet. My goal is end of summer, fall to start teaching. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. I'll keep everybody updated, and I'll be announcing as I get closer. I'm still kind of getting everything all. There's a lot to put into a class, so but that's my goal for the next few months. So hopefully we offer something here soon.
Awesome. That's exciting. And we'll be
Yeah.
announcing it. So if and when he teaches, you'll hear about it.
Maybe I'll come on if you're open to it. Maybe we can do a show and And since there's
Yeah.
going to be so much intense energy, maybe we'll do a holy
A
fire
healing.
healing demonstration for everybody. I think that would be awesome.
Absolutely. I'm telling you guys, really and truly, we have just so much toxic energy around us, just imbibing it, being in it, living in it through the
Yeah,
pandemic, and just getting some of this out of you is really helpful. It really, truly is.
yeah, absolutely.
All right, everybody. We'll see you again real soon. Take really, really good care of yourselves. Okay, everybody? Bye,
Bye,
you
everyone.
guys.